I want you to pause for a moment and ask yourself one question. When was the last time you truly, unapologetically focused on you? Not your job, not your family, not the expectations of society, just you. Because somewhere along the way, between responsibilities, relationships, and the relentless pressure to be enough, you started putting yourself last. You started dimming your light to make others feel more comfortable. You started shrinking your voice in rooms you deserved to lead. But today, I want you to hear this loud and clear. You matter. Your dreams, your peace, your healing, your future. It all matters, and no one else is going to protect it for you. That's your job, your duty, your responsibility. This isn't just another motivational talk. This is a wake-up call, a personal invitation to come back to you, to prioritize yourself with zero guilt, to build the life you deserve on your terms. Because the truth is, when you stop focusing on the outside world and start pouring that energy into your own growth, you become unstoppable. You become powerful. You become powerful. And more importantly, you become free. So if you're tired of living a life that pleases everyone but fulfills no one, if you're ready to finally listen to that quiet voice inside you that's been whispering for more, then stay with me. This speech was made for you. And I promise by the end of it, you won't just see the power in focusing on yourself, you'll feel it. Let's begin. We live in a world that never stops talking, a world that constantly demands your attention, your reaction, your energy. From the moment you wake up, you're flooded with noise, notifications, opinions, expectations, distractions. It's everywhere. And what's even more dangerous is that this noise doesn't just come from the outside. It starts to seep into your mind, cloud your thinking, and drown out the one voice that truly matters. Your own. We are taught to always be connected, always be available, always be responding. And in that cycle, we forget how to just be. We forget the value of silence, of stillness, of inner clarity. We forget how to hear ourselves. And the truth is, if you can't hear yourself, you'll never be able to guide yourself. That's when you start living for everyone else, trying to meet their expectations, live up to their definitions of success, their timelines, their rules. But that isn't your purpose. You weren't born to blend in with the noise. You were born to rise above it. Focusing on you begins with a decision, a powerful conscious decision to silence everything that's distracting you from your truth. And that's not always easy, because some of that noise might come from people you care about. It might come from the opinions of friends, family, or even strangers on the internet. It might come from a version of yourself that's still trying to prove something, still trying to be accepted. But if that noise is keeping you from peace, if it's pulling you away from your growth, your power, and your authenticity, then it has to go. There is a difference between hearing the world and being consumed by it. And right now, too many people are consumed. Always scrolling, always reacting, always comparing. But let me tell you something, clarity never comes from chaos. You will never understand your next step while drowning in everyone else's lives. You cannot create your future if you are constantly reacting to the present noise. The most powerful breakthroughs come in silence. That's where you meet yourself. That's where you remember who you really are. So yes, unplug, disconnect, take a break from being accessible to everyone. You don't owe anyone your time if it costs you your mind. You don't need to explain why you're choosing solitude, why you're turning down invitations, why you're not as available as you used to be. You are allowed to choose peace over popularity. Because you have, and that's the point. You are not here to live a life based on guilt, obligation, or fear. You are here to rise, to evolve, to lead yourself first. That means rest when you need it, space when you need it, saying no when something doesn't align, saying yes to what feeds your soul, not your ego. You start building a routine that reflects who you are becoming. You create a lifestyle that supports your purpose, not one that drains your spirit. When you prioritize your growth, everything else falls into place. Your energy shifts. Your standards rise. You stop settling for less because you finally believe that you deserve more. You stop begging for permission and start granting it to yourself. You take up space, not because you're trying to prove anything, but because you've realized that your voice matters, your presence matters, and your boundaries matter. And the people who truly love you, they will respect the version of you that respects herself. The ones who fall away were never meant to stay for the full journey. And that's okay. Let them go with love. Because the more you focus on your growth, the more your life begins to reflect that energy. You attract better, you think clearer, you move with intention. You stop living in survival mode and begin operating from a place of power. You get to redefine what success looks like, what joy feels like, what alignment means for you. No more performing. No more pretending. No more pushing yourself to the edge just to meet someone else's definition of worthy. Shit. You already are. So stop waiting for permission to make yourself a priority. Stop asking for validation before choosing your healing. Stop holding back your evolution to make others feel comfortable in your presence. Your growth isn't optional. It's essential. And the only way forward is through you. When you begin focusing on yourself, you start seeing the world differently. Not through the lens of what's expected or what's convenient, but through the lens of what actually matters to you. You stop living a life that was handed to you by someone else and start intentionally designing a life that reflects your truth. And that's where real alignment begins. Not in chasing more, but in choosing what's right for you. The truth is, too many people are living lives that look good on the outside but feel empty on the inside. They're checking off boxes, achieving goals, following timelines, but none of it feels fulfilling. Because it's not rooted in who they are. It's rooted in who they think they should be. But when you focus on you, you stop living for the image, and you start living for the impact. You stop making choices just to be accepted, and you start making choices that are aligned with your values, your peace, your purpose, your authenticity. That means you begin examining everything. You look at the habits you've kept, the people you surround yourself with, the way you spend your time, your energy, your money, everything. And you ask, is this helping me become who I want to be? If the answer is no, then you know it's time to let go. Because anything that doesn't reflect your values is a distraction. Anything that doesn't honor your growth is holding you back. You can't build a meaningful life on a foundation that doesn't support your truth. You can't keep saying yes to things that feel wrong and expect to feel whole. There comes a point where you have to stop performing and start aligning. You have to get clear about what you truly value. Not what you've been taught to value. Not what looks good on paper, but what feels right in your soul. For some, that's freedom. For others, it's purpose. For some, it's family or creativity or peace. Whatever it is for you, let that be your compass. Let your decisions flow from it. Let your relationships be filtered through it. Let your work reflect it. That's how you build a life that lasts. One that feels just as good on the inside as it looks on the outside. But to do that, you have to be willing to let go of what no longer fits. And sometimes that's going to mean walking away from comfort, from familiarity, from people, places, and routines that have become part of your identity. It's going to mean saying no to shortcuts. No to opportunities that look shiny but feel misaligned. No to the pressure of doing things just because everyone else is. And yes, that path might feel lonelier at first, but in time it becomes lighter. Because you're no longer carrying the weight of living someone else's life. You're no longer trying to keep up, fit in, or impress. You're just being you, fully, freely, without apology. You start surrounding yourself with people who understand your standards. People who respect your values. People who speak your language, share your energy, and honor your space. Because when you're aligned, you stop attracting chaos. You stop entertaining drama. You stop settling for anything that disturbs your peace. And it doesn't mean everything will be perfect. It just means everything will be yours. Your choices, your boundaries, your vision, your pace. You're no longer reacting to life, you're creating it. You're leading yourself from a place of clarity, and that clarity becomes your power. We're not here to live carbon copies of each other's lives. We're not here to follow scripts we never wrote. We're here to wake up every day with purpose, direction, with meaning. And that starts by asking yourself over and over again, is this aligned with who I want to become? If it's not, you let it go. If it is, you move forward with fully. A life that doesn't just exist, that feels alive. There's something powerful that happens when you stop running, stop performing, and allow yourself to sit in stillness with your own truth. When you stop seeking distractions and let the silence speak to you. That silence has a way of bringing everything to the surface. Your pain, your fears, your regrets, and your dreams. And for many, that's the part they run from. Because healing isn't easy. It's not glamorous. It's not loud. It doesn't come with applause. Most of the time, healing looks like solitude. It feels like letting go of things you once clung to. It means grieving versions of yourself that you've outgrown, even if you didn't want to. But the moment you choose to heal is the moment you begin to transform. Not because everything outside of you changes, but because you do. You start shedding layers of shame, doubt, and fear. You begin to see yourself clearly, not for what you've been through, but for what you've survived and who you're becoming. That process is quiet, it's internal, and often it's done alone. There's strength in that solitude. A kind of sacred space where you don't need validation, noise, or company, where you're not performing or pretending, you're simply being, reflecting, rebuilding. And that is where the real power comes from, not from external praise, but from internal alignment. Sometimes healing means walking away, not because you don't care, but because you finally realize you have to care about you more. It means letting go of relationships that drain your soul, environments that dim your light, and habits that sabotage your peace. That kind of healing will challenge you. It will break cycles that you've normalized. It will require you to be brutally honest with yourself. But on the other side of that honesty is liberation. We don't talk enough about the courage it takes to be alone, to sit in your own energy. To face the parts of yourself you used to ignore. To stop filling the silence with people, plans, and distractions. But the truth is, your greatest growth doesn't happen when you're surrounded by others. It happens in the quiet moments, in the breakdowns, in the uncomfortable truths. That's where resilience is built. That's where transformation takes root. And yes, there will be moments where it hurts. Moments when you feel misunderstood, disconnected, unseen. Moments when you wonder if choosing yourself was the right decision. But those are the very moments that shape you. Because you learn that your worth isn't dependent on who shows up for you, but on how you show up for yourself. You stop needing to be saved. You start realizing that you are the answer. You are the one who gets to decide how this story goes. Healing is not a straight path. It's a cycle of breaking, building, and blooming. And each time you choose to rise, even when no one is watching, you strengthen something inside of you that no one can take away. You become rooted, unshakable, whole. Transformation doesn't happen because someone gave you permission. It happens because you made a choice. You decided that your past doesn't define your future. You refused to carry the weight of old wounds into new seasons. You chose to do the work, to face the pain, to forgive, to evolve. And here's what's beautiful. Once you heal, once you rise, you don't go back. You don't shrink to fit into old spaces. You don't chase what you've outgrown. You move differently, speak differently, love differently, not out of fear, but out of clarity. You start attracting peace instead of chaos, wholeness instead of fragments, depth instead of distractions. And no, you don't need to announce it. You don't need to prove it. Let your energy speak. Let your glow reveal the work you did in the dark. Let your presence carry the power of someone who didn't quit on themselves. That's what transformation looks like. Quiet, steady, unstoppable. Unstoppable. So if you find yourself walking this path alone right now, know this. It's not a punishment. It's preparation. It's power. It's purpose being reborn. And when you come out on the other side, you won't just be healed. You'll be unbreakable.